Well, hello folks out there in YouTube land. Got a very interesting show set up for you. We're going to talk about it. No more superpowers in college football. Parity is here. And it has a lot to do with NIL. It has a lot to do with TV contracts, the money for the conferences. All those sorts of things have changed. And you don't have the powers that be totally dominating the college football scene. Personally, I think that's great. Now, if you're a Georgia fan, an Alabama fan, a Clemson fan from a few years ago, an Ohio State fan, you don't like it. And I understand you don't like it. I totally get it. You know, y'all want to dominate, and you've been dominating. Anytime there's a playoff, those four teams were pretty much in there, with the exception of a couple of teams that snuck in there. Michigan had a nice run for about 3 years. I'm not sure why that was.
The sign stealer guy.
Anyway, they're losing a lot of games now for some reason. Who knows? Just must have been one of those funny things that happened during a 3-year span.
He cheated.
I changed the conditions of the test. I don't like to lose.
But those were the four teams that pretty much dominated. Clemson won 2 natties. Georgia won a couple of natties. Alabama won 6. And Ohio State got 1. But with NIL, you can't dominate anymore. Pretty much the way it worked was all the teams that were really good, those top 4 I talked about, all the recruits would go there because they wanted to win a national championship. Well, since NIL got enacted, which, look, it got voted 9-0 in the Supreme Court that you couldn't stop people from making money. So I know there's a lot of traditionalists out there that don't like it. I understand that. But when it's 9-0 in the Supreme Court, there's nothing to discuss. So the NCAA, of course, is caving. They're going to have to pay. It's the way it's going to work. So guys are making money. You know, Ohio State paid $20 million this year for their crew up there. And they've already lost a ball game, and they've had, you know, questionable games already. Ryan Day's on a little bit of a hot seat. Not now that he beat Penn State, he's okay, but just kind of is the way it is. Even at $20 million, you can't totally dominate because all these other teams have got really good players. My team, Tennessee, for example, you know, we're 7-1. We're looking at the playoff, and we're spending NIL money, and we're getting better all the time. Ole Miss, look at Ole Miss. There's no way they should be in the playoff conversation. They've been there last couple of years because of NIL. And you're seeing that with Missouri Tigers, all on down the path. And Vanderbilt went and got Diego Pavia. They're 6-3. So we're seeing an incredible amount of parity, which I think is fantastic. I mean, personally, unless you're an Alabama fan, I got sick and tired of Nick Saban winning a national title every other year. That is just boring. So I'm really glad about this. And I think really the SEC, the rest of the teams that are out there ought to be thrilled. Let's take a look at the top 25. Yeah, Oregon's sitting there at #1, and NIL has helped them a ton. You know, that's a team that has been the outside looking in. Georgia's sitting there. They've already got a loss. Ohio State's got a loss. Here's Miami. NIL has helped them a ton. Good grief. They're sitting there at 9-0. They're going to get in the playoff. Texas has made a huge comeback. They're spending tons of money on NIL. Penn State's right in there. They've always been on the outside looking in, but they're still a good team. Here's Tennessee. They're back in the limelight again. Look at Indiana, 9-0. Man, that whole state of Indiana's got to be thrilled. BYU, here's Notre Dame. Here's Alabama, who's totally dominated for years. They've already got 2 losses and on down the list here. So we're going to get the first playoff rankings tonight at like 7 o'clock, which should be pretty interesting. But anyway, I did want to cover this because I haven't talked about it a whole lot. I just don't think there's going to be dominant teams anymore. I think they're just going to go in and out depending on whether they get lucky with the right players with the NIL, spending the right amount of money on the right guy. You never know. When you can go out there and spend millions of dollars, you don't know you're going to get the right quarterback or the right wide receivers or whether the chemistry is going to work because a lot of these guys are, you know, about the money.
Comes in pretty handy down here, bub.
Oh,
So anyway, I did want to cover this because I think it's a good thing for the future of football that all the other teams have a chance now. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, be sure to hit that little button right here. Won't cost you a dime and help you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.